Article 7, Section 1 of the Texas Constitution states, "A general diffusion of knowledge being essential to the preservation of the liberties and rights of the people, it shall be the duty of the legislature of the state to establish and make suitable provision for the support and maintenance of an efficient system of public free schools." Is it possible to pass broad school choice legislation which could reduce funding for public schools while maintaining Texas constitutional obligations?
Yeah, so this is a rule of legal construction, right? The Texas Constitution gives a list of things that the state has to do. This is one of them. And that item is not a description of things it can't do, right? It's an affirmative obligation the state has to create a system of public free education, which it has done, right? So that doesn't in any way prevent it from also passing a school choice program, particularly if that private program uses the same dollars more efficiently than the current system does. So there's not a reputable argument I'm aware of for how you could legally challenge it under that article of the Constitution.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Newman. To you, Mrs. Williams.
So I'm really glad that you did bring up Article 7, Section 1 of the Texas Constitution. Right now, our public schools are not providing an efficient education. So right now, our current electeds are not providing what they are supposed to underneath the Constitution. And to say that vouchers, to say that ESAs are going to be what's going to come in and change that, we need to be really, really smart with our math. $500 million, take out the $15 million that's going to go to the comptroller, the $25 million that's going to go to the 5 new businesses, the new vendors that are going to be created. What you're left over with, divided by an $8,000 voucher, is 57,500 vouchers for the entire state of Texas, which has about 6.1 million students in it currently. That's not going to be doing anything for educating the masses. We are spending millions of dollars on these sessions, and these special sessions cost money. We pay our legislators to be there. We pay for their staff. We are paying for them to go down there and work for us, and they are spending millions of our dollars to try to pass this vendor bill instead of doing what is right by our children and what is in our Texas Constitution. They need to be focused on fixing public education where the majority of our children are going to be. If parents want to leave that system, they can. They can make great sacrifices. Me and my husband have made unbelievable sacrifices for one of our 3 children to be in private school. I drive a car that's almost 20 years old, and I have the newest car. I am perfectly fine with that. I do not want this government money because I have found my perfect oasis in private school without the government, without the assessments, without the STAR, without NAPS. I don't want it in there. I don't need it in there. And when people say, well, then just don't take it, I'm still going to be paying for it. I'm going to be funding all of those vouchers. And also, if you think that you are at private school 1, 2, 3, and there's a couple coupon kids there that have the voucher, you're all going to be doing the assessment. How are they going to be doing that? The coupon kids go to one room and everybody else receives instruction? It's not going to be worked out that way. We need to push our legislators for a tax exemption, not an ESA.
Thank you very much, Mr. Newman. 1 minute follow-up.
So, 30 years ago, homeschoolers were being put in jail for homeschooling their kids. And I grew up during that time period, so I certainly appreciate the argument that people did hard things to put their kids in the form of education they want. I do not think it's a legitimate argument to say that because one is happy with the status quo, and they're happy to put their kids in the status quo, that everyone else should have to. I don't buy that argument, right? So just because one family has been willing to do the hard things and been able to do the hard things doesn't mean you should force every other family to do all of the same hard things. When you have an ability to break down barriers and make it easier for people to choose the form of education that's good for their child. Also, this argument that somehow the bill requires STAR, there's only one version of the bill that's ever been filed in the last 10 years that's ever required STAR, and it didn't pass. And it's not going to pass this session either. So that's not in the bill. And I think my whole argument here is, my first argument would be most of the things we're talking about are not in the bill. So it would be helpful to constrain our arguments to the things that are actually in the bill and have a chance of passing.
Thank you very much, Mr. Newman.
not say the word STAR, what is the exact assessment that is in our public schools? It is a STAR. And we talked about homeschoolers. We do need to protect homeschool. In Texas, we have the absolute free state when it comes to homeschooling. And in Oklahoma, they recently passed a school choice type bill, and they pinky promised they weren't going to come for homeschoolers. Well, this session, for their legislative session, they have a bill, and it's coming to require homeschoolers to all take the ESA. So while things might not be in the first bill, we can look at what's happening in other states, and it's going to come to us as well. The other thing that I don't think that most people understand is that in Arizona, where vouchers did pass, there is currently an LGBTQ and questioning school that has opened up, and it takes the exact dollar amount in tuition of the voucher. Is that what we want conservatives? Is that what we want to be funding? And when we talk about personal responsibility, we're conservative Republicans. We're not asking for handouts. We are pulling ourselves up from our bootstraps.